First story. Bullying. We had this bald guy in high school. I nicknamed him Globe, or Mega Brain, or Mind. Anyway, everybody made fun of him behind his back, and a lot of people laughed at him to his face. He wasn't beaten up, but he was called names regularly. And then we were told that a student with leukemia had died at school, and we all felt very sorry for him that such a little boy had already died, and everyone sympathized and worried, and Globus disappeared somewhere. Only when I grew up, I realized that it was the same boy. Second story. The responsible photographer. When I was planning a wedding with my then future wife, the question of a wedding photographer came up. I didn't want to overpay, just like I didn't want to hire just a guy or girl with a camera but without knowing how to use it. In the end, we chose a good photographer who did not earn money with it but enjoyed shooting. Therefore, the quality of the portfolio satisfied us, and the price tag pleased us a lot. On the day of the wedding, the photographer complained about his poor health and often ran to the toilet, as everyone decided, because of an upset stomach. There was even a moment when he accidentally in the thermal closed, so in the apartment of the groom's parents, and put on the alarm, and he came out of the toilet and, seeing the flashing alarm, called us on the phone to let him out. He ended up doing a full day's work, right down to taking out the cake in the evening. And then, after a while, he told us that he had an uncle open in the morning, went to the bathroom bleeding, and then went to the hospital in an ambulance after the wedding. Says he didn't want to ruin our wedding and let us down. Have you ever come across with so responsible people? Third story. The deception of childhood. I did not even have to be deceived. I, in the second grade, somehow did not want to go to school. In the morning I got up before everyone else, hid my things like I left, and myself under the bed. I don't know that I thought, probably, that later I'll get out, I'll be scolded a little, and I won't have to go. In the morning they were looking for me, saying where I was. In the end, when I got out, it was Sunday. It's just such a letdown. Fourth story. How searches are conducted. One of those stories that didn't happen to me, of course. It was just told by my great-aunt's neighbor's acquaintances. The story is about a company which through simple manipulations turned non-cash money of clients into clean cash. I woke up at 7 a.m. to a call from our IT guy, name. Good IT, by the way, coding, administration, task understand correctly. He knows how to humor. There was a meme back then with a dog saying hello. That's how we greeted him on the phone. But not this time. Now he was almost shouting into the phone in an anxious voice. Name 2. There are cops at my door. What to do? Sleep immediately disappears. In the head of a pile of thoughts. What? Why at him and not at my door? What does this have to do with the IT guy? Maybe it's about something else? Wait, don't do anything. Stall for time. I'll call you back. I call my partner. No answer. I call a few other people. No answer. I'm texting. Name's got cops at the door. From the other side comes a message. So let him open the door. And you say the cops cannot joke. At the same moment comes another text from a comrade who asks how am I doing, because his neighbors called him and say that the police are looking for him. Okay, the situation is clear. I call name back. He is gibbering. They cut the lights. I open the door. I understand everything but one thing. Why didn't anyone come to see me? At that moment I get a call from an unknown number. Name 2? Well, here it is. That's right. Have you written and called this and that? I wrote and called. We're standing at your entrance. Will you meet us yourself, or shall we look for you? Oh, that's it. According to the registration, no one lived here. They only tracked us to the entrance. I'll be right down. Give me 5 minutes to get dressed. I wake up my wife. I tell her the situation. I remember if I have anything on my home computer. I realize I have to go through all the correspondence and all the accounts. And that I should have thought of that earlier. I get dressed, call the elevator. It stops in the middle of the way, and there is a man in a suit looking at me spitefully, talking to the neighbors. Didn't recognize? I go downstairs, where a young guy is sitting on a bench. I go over and say hello. Out of nowhere, two more policemen fly up, and the one from the stairwell comes down. The next thing that happens is that everything is ripped through. Drawers and closets, trash cans, boxes of dirty laundry, all the compartments in the car in the parking lot where something could be hidden. I've got correspondence with the defendants on my phone, worksheets on my computer. Yes, I should have thought earlier. In the process, the operatives are having a relaxed conversation, telling each other how they went fishing, asking me leading questions. Then they seal all the equipment and documents they find. They give a couple of admonitions along the lines of, "They've been dealing with you for more than a year. They know all of the arrangements for a long time. Don't advise you to talk nonsense to the investigator." And they take me to the investigative committee in a car worth about 1.5 million. The economic department can afford it. After 14 hours waiting without food in the investigation and superficial interrogation, they let me go as a witness. They really did have all the reports, and for the current day of fruitful conversations, managed to find out everything what was still unclear. As a result, the investigation leaves on unpaid leave only the organizers and those who drove the money. These guys will still be useful to shake out clients, the rest are free. Then I meet the IT guy, who got the story. I still don't understand why they came to your door and waited for me at the entrance. Because someone often asked me of my address on the phone when they came to visit. What makes you say that? You know what the first thing the cops said to me when I opened the door? What? Hello. Fifth story. Nepotism. I recently ran into an old acquaintance on social networks and remembered her story. I won't prove anything here, just believe it or not. I know the story is getting a little too oily. I know that nepotism exists everywhere, in any corner of the world, but it becomes especially pleasant on the heart when there is a failure in the established in our country system of employment in a good place. About 11 years ago I worked in a government office, let's call it a department, well, with a framework of cross-border or some other kind of I don't know cooperation. The European Union agreed to place a certain center of education, or I don't remember how it's called, at our department. One employee was to work in the center. The salary was in euros. Something like 2,500 a month at first. Travel to Europe for all sorts of international seminars. The head of the department is out of his mind. Such a good place. He wanted to put his daughter-in-law in it, but his boss at the top found out about the place and wanted to put his daughter in it. They got into a huge fight, and my boss lost his job, along with half his deputies and down the line. Then someone more influential found out about it, and there was another candidate. In general, in the regional and our department squabbling around this lasted about a month. And with the candidate they kind of decided. The customer arrived. All night he was taking to the restaurants, drinking, and in the morning they brought him this candidate. Well, like there, an excellent student, all the things. The customer look at the documents and say no, she won't go. We pointed out that education should be pedagogical, work experience in education, and there is no such thing. It was a big bummer. The customer gave us 2 more weeks to choose a candidate. Immediately, of course, there was a replacement candidate who drew and diploma. I do not know whether they really faked or just drew, and labor corrected. The man from the European Union is here again. He says no much. We specified fluent English. Our new boss. He speaks normal English. Hello, okay. He says no, that's not gonna work. He goes to his laptop and says, why didn't you post the vacancy of the internet? We asked you to. Our programmer got sick. The customer suddenly says, "Okay, we'll do the hiring ourselves. Don't worry," and left. Some time later, a skinny girl of about 25, a librarian from the school library, comes to the department. She gets an appointment with the chief and says, "There was an ad on the internet for a specialist." The boss didn't even listen to her and was like, "Jesus, where are you going? They'll figure it out without you." She said, "I've already been interviewed online. They told me to come in and get registered." It wasn't like a kick in the butt to the whole bunch of officials. It was a steel crowbar between their legs. In general, for the next 5 years these officials were naturally engaged only in the fact that she was removed from this place. I remember how many were tears. She ran to me crying. I, as a more experienced person, helped her to resist them. And then there was a cooling of relations with the European Union. The government told this center, "Go back to your Europe, because you're spies and foreign agents. We don't need any cross-border cooperation." So they left, and they took the girl with them. I ran into her on social media the other day. She married some Londoner, a soccer club fan. I never understood them. Is expecting a child, and remembers the officials from that department like a terrible dream. Anyway, it happens like this. Almost like in the movies. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.